My name is Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas. If you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, actually if you live anywhere in the state of Texas, I want to encourage you to come to an event that's being hosted by the Dallas Jewish Conservatives on Wednesday, December the 20th. It's going to be at the Look Cinema in downtown Dallas. But the event is going to be focusing on a documentary called We the Parents. We the Parents. This is done by Elizabeth and Michael McNeese out of Ohio. And they started to look at this issue about 3 years ago. They went throughout the states, through Texas, through Ohio, I believe a few other states, perhaps even California, Florida. But they started interviewing people regarding what they find is going on in family courts. And for those who don't know, our family courts are not family friendly. Our family courts are, as one person calls it, a dumpster fire. These are places where a lot of evil and abuse takes place, and they actually destroy families. Just recently, I was talking with somebody about a judge who said, even bragged in a sense, they said, in my court, we destroy families. This is what's happening in Texas. When I talk about what's going on in the family courts right now, we primarily focus on judges and attorneys, but we cannot be remiss and not mention that a lot of this stuff takes place because of our legislators. Our representatives, our senators, have passed statutes that are very bad and that are anti-family in their nature, destructive toward families. And as I've said in the past to some other people, the Texas Family Code that we have, 1,600 pages, it is a godless document. What do I mean? In the 1,600 pages, the word God is not mentioned once. In the Texas Constitution, I believe it's about 254 pages or so. The word God is mentioned 4 times. In our Texas Family Code, which is 6 times the size of our Texas Constitution, the word God is not mentioned once. It is a godless document. The statutes do not take into account a person's religious convictions, which the legislature actually in Texas has an obligation to protect religious liberty and religious freedom. That is in our Constitution. The Texas Family Code sometimes just disregards our Constitution, not only our Texas Constitution, but the federal Constitution. Just does its own thing. And a lot of these things that are in the Texas Family Code are suggested by attorneys who stand to profit by destroying families. So anyway, this movie is going to be starting to investigate some of the things that take place in our family courts. And some people will say, well, this is just a movie about fatherlessness. No, it's not. Fathers are represented, but so are mothers. One of the most heartrending testimonies that I saw within the movie itself was from a mother who was denied access to her children, had a great relationship with her children, and yet her ex-husband, whether he's a narcissist or not, I can't make that diagnosis, but has kept her away and has helped to destroy the relationship that she has had with her children. And it's not just about parents either. It's about grandparents, and it's about extended family as well. We've got researchers from throughout the states. Don Hubin of the National Parents Organization, Warren Farrell, the author of The Boy Crisis, many other people. They're family law attorneys. There's a family law attorney. There's people that were civil rights leader, not just white, black, all sorts of things. The McNeeses have put a large, diverse group of people into this documentary talking about the crisis and the tragedies, the exploitations, the evils that are taking place within our family court system. And of course, we have to mention that within the documentary, there are people like attorneys and judges and legislators who defend the practices of abusing families, of destroying families, of bringing trauma to our children and our grandchildren. It's interesting because as we've testified at our Capitol on many occasions, and others people have done the same, the only people that defend these anti-family, godless, destructive practices are those people who profit from the system themselves. We the parents is we the parents. We are talking about our rights to actually order our lives, to be a parent, a father, or a mother to our children without government intrusion. This is one of the most sacred rights that we should have in the United States of America, and yet in our anti-family courts, especially in Texas, this right is often denied parents. The producers, as I mentioned, are flying in from Ohio. They will be here. We'll get to talk with them a few minutes, what the motivation was for them to make this, how much research perhaps they did into the video, into the documentary, and just what they hope to achieve by it. Because what they are hoping to achieve is to bring a tool into place that we can use to help make changes within our laws, within our legislature, within our state governments. After the documentary is done, there will be a panel of 4 to 5 different people. They are mentioned. One is a family law attorney who's also gone through the system. And as the one family law attorney said in this movie, he no longer believes in the system. He knows what the system is like as he went through it. And I believe that the individual that's going to be on the panel may talk about some of those other instances. We also have another person who the courts have taken away his children and allowed a mother to take them to California, where she wants to transition one of them. And this happened in Texas. Texas let it happen, and the judges are not being reprimanded. And the Supreme Court of Texas, except for one dissenting judge, allowed that to take place without any problems. We have another person, a lady who's going to be on the panel, and she has started the organization Texans for Judicial Accountability. She was court watching for somebody, and the judge called up her boss and said, if she ever comes into my court again, I'm going to fire you. And she herself had been a former court reporter, knows the way the system works, has many political connections. She's been talking with people about what can be done to fix our judiciary in the state of Texas. There's another person there who will be the mystery guest. I'm not going to disclose this person's name at this time, but he will have a few minutes up there as well. And finally, we're going to have another gentleman from the National Parents Organization. This man is an expert in child custody laws throughout the states. He talks about child support. In fact, I was with him when he talked with a gubernatorial candidate in Texas about the child support system in Texas. And as he was talking about it, the person who was running for governor just said, it's a scam. And it is a scam. A lot of the stuff that takes place within our Texas Family Code, within our anti-family courts, our destructive anti-family courts, is nothing but a scam. But many people don't realize this. They don't realize this until they go through it. And many people have been silenced and not talking about it. So the population at large doesn't always know the atrocities that take place in our courts. Our legislators, our judges, our lawyers say we've got the best system in the United States. Texas is leading the way. Texas is leading the way perhaps in abuse, but not in justice itself. So anyway, this event is coming up. It's an eye-opening documentary. I'm also featured in it very briefly. I got to review the film. I've seen it probably at least 8 times. It's tremendous. Each time I listen to it, I gain more and more insight into it. I listen again and again. It's one of those things that I don't get tired about hearing because it's so convincing what people are saying about the horrendous system that we have set up in place that often ends up destroying children, destroying parents, destroying grandparents, extended families. This is being hosted by the Dallas Jewish Conservatives. It will be taking place in Look Cinema in downtown Dallas. It is not a free event. It is going to be $12 for a ticket. There's a VIP ticket that you can get for more, and that would allow you to get interviews and photos with some of the people that will be on the panel and so on prior to it. But it is a 3-hour event. It was extended because there's so much information to go over. And the reality is this could be a 3-day or a 3-week event. So in order to condense this down into 3 hours, that's going to be a challenge. But I personally want to thank Elizabeth and Michael McNeese, the great job that they've done. Again, this documentary was 3 years in the making. If you can make it, please make it. Please support the documentary. And again, if you're a legislator, you need to be there. Some of this stuff you may be completely unaware of. I believe that legislators should be almost mandated to be in our courts at least once a quarter to see what takes place within our courts. They are supposed to be a check and balance against the judiciary. Because they are failing their jobs, we the parents are now having to do their jobs and to help to enlighten them. Legislators will be there. We hope that judges are going to be there. We hope that anti-family, or maybe even if they're nice family attorneys, will be there. We're hoping that maybe some police officers will be there to see what takes place. We're hoping that maybe some news people will be there. We don't know who's going to be there at this point. It is before Christmas. We realize that, but the other option was to show it right after Christmas, and it seemed like showing it before Christmas was the better option. But once again, if you're in Texas, I'm going to say this is something you should come to if at all possible. We need to be supportive of this project. The Dallas Jewish Conservatives are putting their neck out on the line. They're renting out an entire theater for us to be able to show this, and we don't want to see them take any losses. And also, too, I believe that this is one of those documentaries that can be taken throughout the various counties in Texas. I told the producers, I said, we have 254 counties in Texas. I think we should have at least 254 showings. And in fact, I think we should have 4 to 6 showings per county at least. So we should be looking at more than like 1,000 to 1,500 showings. We have to get this message out. Please come, and the video will be available for you as well. You can show it. You can show it to other people that have wanted to show it, said, can I see it first? A few people have seen it. Every person that I've let seen it and that I've given access to see the documentary to have just been astounded by the quality of it and the message behind it. So once again, I'm asking you, December the 20th, Wednesday, December the 20th, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at Look Cinema down in Dallas. Please come if you can make it. We need you there. The theater will hold 240 people. I'd like to see at least 200 people there. In fact, I'd like to actually see it overflow so that we would have to have a second showing perhaps, maybe even a second showing that night. I don't know how they would arrange something like that, but we must get this message out. So again, I'm asking you, if you're part of the community that wants to see shared parenting that takes place, that wants to see reform taking place within our family courts, that don't know anything about what's going on here, but think that this is a very important issue that you should be aware of, please come out. We plan to use this film as a springboard, as I mentioned, to help bring about change. We're not talking about in the future. We're talking about this upcoming session. We want and need change. And for our legislators, we're going to be following up with you as well. We want to see change. Whether you believe it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, inaction is leading to the destruction of families. You destroy the family, you destroy society. Lenin said that. Vladimir Lenin, communist Vladimir Lenin in 1917, 1918, destroy the family, destroy society. Look around our society today. See what it's like. What is the cause of the destruction of the society? The destruction of the family. When you go to a family court, an anti-family court, and you watch what takes place, you see families destroyed every single day. So we need to make some changes here. Please come out and support the film. For Benji Gershon of the Dallas Jewish Conservatives, thank you. Thank you for taking a risk with this. And for Elizabeth and Michael McNeese for flying in from Ohio just for this one event, thank you for coming here. For the panelists who are going to be there, thank you for sharing your expertise in answering questions to help enlighten all of us about the nature of our courts and some of the suggestions that you have in order to bring reform to the courts and to help our families in Texas. Thank you so much.